Well, hello. Thank you for joining us at Verses of Life. I'm your host, Veronica Sites, and joining me today in studio are Jessica Butler, she's 17 years old, Alyssa Cohen, 17, Regan Munstead is 16, and Danielle Munstead, 17, with Mom, Kristen Scott, and we will remain silent on the other. Welcome, ladies. I am so excited to have you as part of the show today. Verses of Life is all about the things in life that build a legacy and the legacies that are built by your life. So I'm really excited that as representation of Generation Z, you ladies are doing some incredible stuff. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
I'm really excited that you're here. So let's go ahead because I really want to drill down on what it is y'all are doing. You're seniors, you're a junior, and that you were preceded by another teen a few years ago to lead and be a part of work in Guatemala. So tell me a little bit, Danielle, what is it that you do in Guatemala?
So we go on a mission trip to Guatemala where we visit different orphanages or different sites that are in poverty, and most of them are children. And we bring supplies like school, like papers, pencils, anything they need for school, or we bring clothing, or sometimes we just bring love, and we love on the kids, and we bring them presents so that way they feel special and like they are really appreciated. And we just do whatever work they need done over there. We'll paint walls, we'll build chicken coops, anything that they need.
Excellent. So, we can't put a price on love and hope and the help that you bring on this. But I want our listening audience really to get a grasp on this doesn't happen without you. And when somebody sets foot on a plane to go to another country to represent and give the hope and the help that's needed, it takes a huge, huge community. So I'm appealing to you as the host of Verses of Life. You could do this and participate and make a life impact versus going and doing something that's temporary. So I really want y'all to hear the heart of these young ladies. Regan, there's a reason that you started doing this. Can you tell us a little bit about what moved you as a teenager to go to another country and help young people?
So 2 years before I went on my first mission trip to Guatemala, my older sister Jessa had been on 2 trips already. And she just really inspired me when she came back, and she changed so much, and all the stories she had to tell me of her amazing times in Guatemala. And it just really inspired me to get there myself and to raise the money and go and live out this experience that she loves so much.
What have you gained from that? Tell me a little bit about what happened the first time you came back? What did you come away with that you had no idea it would impact your life?
I came back with a lot more love for those around me, because when you go, all the kids, they just love on you so, so much, and it just makes you want to love everyone else around you. And it just made me realize how selfish our lives can be sometimes, because the kids in Guatemala, they don't have nearly as much as we do, but they still are so much happier than so many people in America, and it just makes me want to be just as happy as they are when I have so much more than they do.
So stuff. We have a lot of stuff here in the United States. Jessica, I'd like to ask you a little bit. You haven't been on this trip just yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet. So tell me, why is it important for you to go?
I guess it's just like a calling, I feel, because it's not like I woke up suddenly. It's been like a year since I've been kind of thinking and pondering like if I could make it there, if I had if I wanted to commit to doing this. And it's just like one day I woke up and I was like, wow, I really, really want to do this. It was just something inside, You
just knew. And it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter if you have an answer to that. It's just, I am a mom and I have five millennials myself. So that's why I'm so passionate about Verses of Life, because you guys represent not just the hope and the future of the generations to come, but I asked each one of you to give me one word to describe how you see your generation. And I want the audience to really hear what we can look forward to in the days ahead. So go ahead and share your words.
Mine was non-traditional.
Okay.
Mine was connected.
I chose the I Can generation.
And I described our generation as innovative.
Excellent. So, all those describe you because it's not just you. It's not just you ladies. You represent. Statistics show, and I've read a lot of things. When there's one voice that is represented in surveys, that it represents 1,000 that have never spoken up. So I'm sitting here with 4 incredible ladies, and for your generation, you represent no less than 4,000 that have not spoken up, and you inspire a lot of things. So I want to bring Mom in on this. Kristen.
Yes.
The first time you heard, a teenager, I've been there. We have our kids come home, and they come with these great ideas. When Jessa came home and mentioned this, how did you respond?
The funny thing is, Jessa jumped off a bus from a church trip, and we all jumped in the car to start our family vacation. And on this family vacation, she was trying to tell me that she had felt called to missions. And I was so excited about getting on the road, I wasn't listening to her. So when she finally got upset with me and said, "Mom, you're not listening to me. I want to be a missionary." And it just took me by surprise because I really wasn't. I was so excited about something else, I wasn't hearing her. And so I turned around and I said, "Okay, so what do we do?" And she told me, "We're going on mission trips." And the funny thing is, we came back from that trip. There was already an orphan outreach. That's the group that we travel with. There was already a trip planned, but it was in like a month. And we had to raise all of the money for that within a month. And she made it happen. I mean, it was all her the first time saying, we're going to do this, and we're going to do it together. So it was inspiring to me how together she was and how persistent and just how much heart she had for it. So for me, it was a really proud moment when I finally listened to her.
How old was Jessa at that time?
Oh gosh, that was like 5 years ago. Was she 14? She
14.
was 14.
And then Regan, how old were you at that time?
I was only 10.
You were 10. And Danielle?
I was 11.
And so you 3 sisters have continued to consistently be a part of leading. And this year we have Alyssa, who we're going to hear when we come back, because she's been trying to go on this trip for 3 years. Again, I want you really to think about, as you listen, what is your role in this? Because some serve as senders, some serve as the voice, but we all serve as a part of the body, making difference with the verses of life. And welcome back to the Verses of Life. You are listening to Real News Communication Network, and we are talking about real news here. And I want to welcome back Kristen Scott. You had mentioned, your reaction to your teen daughter and now daughters that have been involved in going to missions impacting young people's lives. Now, there's a name that we need to know about. What is this group called? What does it represent? And tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, the group is called WOW. It's Women for Orphans Worldwide. There are actually chapters throughout the country of WOW, and we're all umbrellaed under Orphan Outreach. They're an amazing bunch of people that do all of these mission trips, and it's not just Guatemala. It's Latvia, India, Russia, some that I can't even remember. They're worldwide. So we're all umbrellaed under them, and WOW is our group that we put together of girls and boys now that raise the money to get on these trips and go back and see these kids.
And you know what's amazing to me, Kristen, is these are young people that may or may not be employed. But the thing about it is I really want the listeners to think about, this is not about giving someone a free trip to vacation. This is work. It is life significant work. It is life changing. It is compelling to what defines them as an individual, contributes to the community as a whole. And one of the things that I really want for our listeners, I want you to go ahead and grab a pen, because I'm asking you to donate. I mean, donate because we all have a part of it. Some serve as senders, some serve as the voice, others serve as the servants that, put the hands on and hold those little babies, those children. And you have a story a little bit later. You're going to hear a story about a 13-year-old and how she was allowed to play, though she was a young mom. So where you donate is donate at Orphan Outreach / Kristen Scott. That allows the money to be distributed to each one of the individuals.
So what you do is you go onto the Orphan Outreach website. It's www.orphanoutreach.com. And then you will be able to find drop downs on their website to donate. You'll need to find the donate to the mission trip, and then you'll need to find the trip that is for Kristen Scott. And the dates on that trip are June 21st through the 27th. And that, if you give to Kristen Scott on that site, I'll be able to give it to the entire team and make sure everybody's able to go.
So what is excellent right now, we're at the beginning of the year. You're making resolutions. You're determining, what are my goals? What is the impact? Who do I want to be, do, and have? I'm encouraging you, have an impact right now. Have an impact that goes out beyond self, beyond what you can see, maybe even beyond what you can touch, because sending this team is actually going to touch a life that, who's to know, but that one day you get to say, I had a part in this. So there are 5. Kristen, can you tell us the 5 different areas of work that actually are part of when you get to Guatemala, when these ladies are there? There's 5 different locations that they're working with.
Oh, yes. We're going to go to Little House of Refuge, our favorite orphanage, and that's actually where we picked our daughter to sponsor. So our extra daughter is in that orphanage. We're going to Hope in Future, and that's where we hope to do our service project this year. That's an orphanage for abused children and their children that have resulted from that abuse. We're going to the Baby House, which is an incredible orphanage for infants, where there might be 50 babies there with maybe 5 caregivers, and it's a happy, happy place. Those children are so well cared for. We're also going to the Down Syndrome School. This is Regan's favorite school. These kids, there's 100 of them at this point. They're moving into a new building and they need a lot of help. This is an incredible place, unlike anything else in Guatemala. And then we're going to go to the Ravine. And the Ravine is an after-school program. It's actually held at the Guatemala City Dump. Their parents work in the dump to try to make ends meet, and usually the kids work there with them, although they're not supposed to. And Orphan Outreach has gone in and put in an after-school program to get these kids an education and to make sure that they break that cycle and they're able to get out of the dump with their families.
That is so powerful. I really admire you ladies. And this young man that's it's not just exclusive to the ladies, but the ladies did lead out in this a few years ago. And I've served on missions. I've gotten to go, been on both ends of it, needing to raise funds, but getting to send. And I wanted to advocate for you guys because I really want your listening audience to know that without you, it doesn't happen. So right now, I want to turn attention to Alyssa because you've been trying to go on this trip for several years. Tell me a little bit about that.
So I got involved with this through Danny because we met through school, and then she started asking me to come to all the fundraisers and everything. And I've always had a heart for helping children, and then just seeing them come back through the trips, through the years, just how their personalities have changed. It's just inspired me to want to go more and more each year. And my parents have been a little iffy about it, they're kind of nervous about me going all the way to Guatemala, but I said, this is the year, I know that I'm going to be able to go this year and raise the money for this year, so I'm really excited about it.
Okay, audience, you need to make this happen. Alyssa, I want you to ask, what has kept you from going before? There was one thing preventing you from going.
It's really expensive, so I've participated in the fundraisers, but sadly I haven't been able to raise the money that I needed throughout the years.
Yeah. So, I think we really need to feel that. What happens, which one of you ladies want to answer this question? What happens if you don't go? Danielle, you had mentioned something about there are children there. And you even mentioned a photo on the wall. I want you to talk about that. What happens if you don't go?
Well, I've gone, this would be my 3rd trip, but I've gone many times and I've made connections with friends that are actually in the orphanages. And I've made a promise that I told them that I'd go back. And it's a big deal for me because in their schoolhouse, there's actually a picture of me and one of the other girls who has the same name as me. We're both nicknamed Danny. And she had kept that picture on the schoolhouse wall since I had last gone, and it had been 2 years, and she still remembered who I was. And we have a lot of fun, but we had talked last time, and I was like, I'm not just coming to say hello and help out for 1 year. I'm going to be back, and I'm going to be thinking about you. And when I came back that second year, it's like, I'm back. I told you I'd come back. This is a lifetime kind of connection thing. I'm not just going to forget about you. You're cared for. My family thinks about you a lot. And so just kind of like reassuring, like, we're not doing this for one time to look back on the memories. We're doing this to make a lifetime difference in these kids' lives. And so I feel if we don't go back, they're going to be disappointed because they need that love and that compassion, that hope that somebody out there is rooting for them.
You know, I want to wrap up this segment in the verses of life is about two things. It's the verses of life that create a legacy, and you ladies are sharing hope. And hope is something we cannot put a price tag on. But the thing about it is, it's this versus that. Here's an opportunity to support a tremendous amount of women versus an opportunity to go have a fancy splurging dinner and, you know, that's it. You have a wonderful time. I'm not saying don't eat. I'm saying give the power behind what it takes to get these women to nurture souls that are hungry for life. The words of life are really what y'all are carrying. So I just want to thank you and stay tuned because we've got a little bit more. You guys are going to really be inspired by what is coming for the summer for these ladies. I am so excited that we've made a really great turn, and you ladies have got some phenomenal days ahead of you. You're making impact today. You are the brightest and the best of Generation Z, and I want to hear more about how can your listening audience participate, because there's a huge need. It costs each one of you young ladies $2,200 to go, and there's 20. You ladies represent a handful, but there's 20 that want to go on this trip that have been participating in fundraising efforts. So, listeners, there are many manners in which to donate. Go to Donate at Orphan Outreach, the account for Kristen Scott, and it will be distributed to the kids accordingly. And additionally, you ladies are going to tell us a few more ways, because you even have attire as part of. Okay, T-shirt is an attire, so, you know, we all love T-shirts. We can, tell us a little bit about this wonderful T-shirt.
Well, Jessa designed us a really funny, cute T-shirt that says Guatemala, alpaca my bags, and it has a little picture of an alpaca. Mm-hmm. And they come in 3 different colors and short and long sleeve, and the money goes towards our trip.
So if you want to purchase any of these T-shirts, there's our on our Twitter page, Wow Suburbia. It's WOWSUBURBIA, and we have the link in our profile. And then you can also donate on that page too. And then if you want to get your T-shirts shipped to wherever, we can ship it to wherever you are.
Excellent. You know what? We have so many. We have such an abundance in our country, and what is so cool is that y'all have been very creative. You've got the T-shirt, you're affiliated with this nonprofit organization, which let me just remind all of our listeners, this is a write-off. It is a non-profit charitable giving. So, give generously. Be a cheerful giver. Give generously. Give often. Let your peers, let your organizations, let your workplaces know, because this is an impact that reverberates not just in Guatemala. These are the women of our future that are, Danielle, you mentioned, what is the career that you hope to pursue?
I'm trying to become a doctor.
What would you do with that as it relates to what you're doing now?
Well, I found my heart for children and other mission work whenever I went to Guatemala, and I realized I really like to help out people. And so by becoming a doctor, I'd be able to help out children if I went pediatric route or trauma, just figuring out the easiest way to help people, and I couldn't think of a better way than healthcare.
That is amazing. Now, turning our attention to, there was something that happened at one of these locations. Was it Hope and Future? Was it the Hope and Future? Just imagine, listener, preteens, young teens, and imagine a 13-year-old is a parent, and whatever hopes and dreams that you have for that 13-year-old, This 13-year-old had a sudden interruption to life. And Kristen, tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, I met Doris as soon as I walked in the door at Hope in Future. And we were all just kind of getting to know the kids, and they were starting to play and run around and just have a good time. And I walked over, and Doris is holding a 3-month-old baby. And I don't speak a lot of Spanish, and Doris doesn't speak any English, but I looked at her and I said, "Do you want to go play?" And I pointed to all the other kids going to play, and her face just lit up. And she handed me that baby very carefully, and she took off. And I didn't see her again, but if her baby's name is Joseph, and if he cried, she was there instantly. She came to feed him. She came to change him. She took such good care of this child. But as a 13-year-old, she really just wanted to play. And, you know, that had been taken away from her. She's a mom now at 13. And fortunately, she's in a very, very safe place now. But not all the kids in Guatemala are so lucky. We see a lot of abuse over there. And these orphanages, they do a very good job of bringing in help for them. But just to have the groups come in and just hold her baby. I got to hold her baby all day. I was in heaven. I mean, there's nothing better for me than holding a baby, and especially a newborn. But she was in heaven too, because for the day she got to be a kid.
And you know what? You can't put a price on that. You know, just when we think about the things, I mean, I want the listener really to look around right now. What do you see? What is the impact? I want you to ask yourself, who do I want to be? Because look at these ladies. I mean, just think about it. Imagine them in your mind, because I'm sitting here looking at amazing, beautiful faces. And what I can tell you is that it gives me a great amount of desire to really launch you ladies into doing the things that you are here to be a part of. And living legacy is this. We are all making a choice. As you as a listener chose to listen to this, and I want to encourage you in this. Choosing to partner has reverberating ripple effect to these kids, to these communities, even in our communities. And moreover, choosing not to has the same. And here's what I want to shine some light on our brightest and best right now for the future, because I don't think you ladies really think about this, but I'm gonna shine a light somewhere that it's a little bit dark. These are the survivors of their generation. Countless millions have been aborted and lost, and these are the survivors. And they're going across to another country, and they're ministering to a 13-year-old that could have chosen to end that child's life, but in nurture and nature loves that child, but has lost her childhood. But by you ladies going and getting to give the care, give the presence, hold her child for a little while, for a day, for some hours, she got to be that little girl, that 13-year-old, having the conversation with others. Survival is more than just existing in life. Listener, I really want you to give purpose and significance, because the reason these ladies are here is the significance of their life is intentional to make an impact eternally. And I want to say thank you to each one of y'all, because you really ought to be acknowledged and admired, because we have a hope and a future in what you guys are doing. So one more, there was another fundraiser thing that y'all wanted to highlight, I believe. Is that right? We've got the T-shirts. You can give online. Do y'all have any upcoming events that are taking place?
We're always planning events. We try to do one monthly, and we always have sports events. So if you follow our account at Wow Suburbia, like Alyssa listed earlier, there'll be updated. We have teas. We have we had a Capture the Flag tournament actually like yesterday, and we're gonna just keep planning and keep hoping that more people will show up so we can give more to this great cause.
So listeners, show up financially, show up in prayer, show up in the giving, show up at these live events. Again, it is please repeat the website they can follow you at.
So we're on Facebook. We're Women for Orphans Worldwide Dallas Suburbia. You can find us there. The kids have other sites as well. At Wow Suburbia is Twitter. You can find us either place. Happy to have you come alongside us and help us get there. We've got a lot of work to do.
Wow. I mean, wow encapsulates it, because women's orphans worldwide. And listener, you can be a part of this. Don't miss out on it. This is your call. This is your time. This is your moment. We all search for significance. Let the significance be lived out through these young ladies, because it doesn't happen without you. I'm Veronica with the Verses of Life, and I'm hoping that you will make your legacy a living one.